check on the Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Global Game Jam, the third day. I'm your host, Carlos Sugeto from Medicop here in Kenya. Well, we have our participants who are jamming live, and we also have our colleagues, our friends and neighbors in Zambia who are also part of this jam and participating. So welcome again to this third day of Global Game Jam. So to start us off today, as you're all aware, the session is all about lost and found. Game developers are using this thing to creatively come up with an interesting game, which you will be able to see at the end of this weekend. And also part of the thing that we talked about in the first day, how can games be more like help more diversification, but also help more inclusion. So as we also proceed, we've been able to see that even young kids are becoming increasingly interested about games. So even as we bring, or even as we bring our genre games, also try and see how we can be able to get kids involved. We do know that programming is a very special tool for kids. Being able to teach them different elements. We do know that, for example, gaming does help with teamwork. How can as a player, how can you do teamwork? How can you focus? So these are some of the things that excite us a lot when it comes to video games. So we look forward to as the people across the continent or even across the globe participate in the various global game jams. We hope to see that for the jammers on the continent build games that will hopefully cater to kids, but also help inspire kids to be able to learn a lesson or two. So for any parents that also have been hearing about video games are also good tools. So we do hope that you expose your kids early to programming, the act of programming, but also the idea that to see, even as they go to play games as well, that you'll be able to open up them to this great tools. So, Global Game Jam was able to introduce Global Game Jam Next for kids back in 2018. So we believe that even here in Africa, we'll be able to see more Global Game Jams focused for the young people. We in Nairobi have not yet seen or had any young person, but even if next time Uganda, I'm excited to say that we had young people from as young as 16 who have also started developing and also doing something quite interesting. I'm also excited to share today that as part of this global game jam, we'll be able to hear from a young kid about I think 6 years old, I believe, who has a Kenyan tutor and is actually helping them with the programming. So with no further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Ben Roberts from Liquid Telecom. Liquid Telecom is quite a big player, in terms of supporting games on the ecosystem or on the continent. So we'll be able to hear from him shortly. But nonetheless, so far, on Wednesday when we did start, we were able to hear from our friends in Zambia who, shared a bit about the ecosystem. We also have countries like Ethiopia, countries like South Africa that are participating in the global game jam, and we can't wait to see what will be built out during this exciting week of the global game jam. So I think with those few remarks, at this point I'll be able to hand it over to Mr. Roberts, who will be able to share a few of this. Thank you.
Hi Douglas, thanks and hello everybody. So my name is Ben Roberts. I'm Chief Technology and Innovation Officer at Liquid Telecom Group. So very happy to be back again doing another global game jam, supporting with Liquid Telecom. We have been involved in global game jam now for 3 years and working with multiple countries and multiple groups of game jammers and game developers in a few different countries. This year, I think with the change in the format of the event, a few less teams have taken part, but we are proud to be working with Zambia and Kenya Global Game Jam events. And this has been very much a change in the format of the event to being an online only event, and not surprising really, but still, game developers, need a space to come together and work together and collaborate, and they still have that with the various different innovation hubs and spaces that we are working with, but they now more and more online collaboration has been taking place. So even as we work in our normal, the job in Liquid Telecom that we all have, I've been traveling a lot less over the last year, and really using online tools, collaboration tools to do much more stuff with our colleagues. And it's not just these video calls and webinars and endless web meetings that we have, but also we use online file sharing and other cloud-based applications to work together, work on documents together, and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's quite possible for all of these things, such as game development and these things, to move online. We have the communications tools available, and things like online or GitHub, like other online file sharing repositories and software development repositories, are the sort of tools that the developers are using, for having teams that are sharing resources and collaborating across the globe. So why do I feel very interested about game development? Why do Liquid Telecom supports the Game Jam and Global Game Jam and events, and also the game developer community? So we've had a number of years supporting various different activities in video game communities. That can be from esports. We've been working with different esports events across Africa, and we've also been hosting local video game servers in Uganda particularly. But with the game developers, we see all of this is coming together. It's game players, competitive game players, casual game players, game developers who are developing games in Africa, and also the hosting of the infrastructure and gaming servers to play those games in Africa. We see this as being the important building blocks of an African video game industry, and that's important to us. We've invested several $1 billion now in fiber optic networks across Africa. We've invested a lot into data centers particularly. So the networks that we've built and the data centers that we've built are there to host data in Africa and to distribute data in Africa. But we really want to see this area of video gaming taking off. So, but there's from a personal side, if I look at my own journey with ICT and my own life history before coming to be Chief of Technology and Innovation at Liquid Telecom, the largest technology company in Africa. It started out really from a quite early age, getting my first computer at around 13, 14 years old. First of all, playing with my friend's ZX Spectrum, Sinclair ZX Spectrum, but then Sinclair ZX81, then I got a Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Now, when we got these first computers, you would plug them in. You wouldn't get, loading up graphical user interfaces like we're used to these days. You open up, you turn your computer on, and you'd get a colon, and you'd have to start typing code to make it do anything. So the native interface was just like a DOS prompt, and you're typing lines of code in from the very beginning. And we, only being young and being kids, we were not interested in business applications, spreadsheets, sending emails. There was no internet at that time. But what did we want to play? We wanted to play games, right? So we could buy games. We could go and buy, pre-recorded media cassette tapes that would play games into computers, or we could write the code for games from scratch, start writing in BASIC or machine code assembly language. So this is what we were doing. We were getting our computers, mostly wanting to play games, and mostly wanting to code our games, hacking games. We would get magazines, and they would have the listed code for a particular game, and you would type out copy the code from a magazine into the computer, and if you made a mistake, you'd have to start again, there was no saving button if you made a mistake while you're writing out your programs. So this is some while ago and a bit of history, but this for me very much was it's the act of creating games at a very young age has been part of the development, the skills development that I've had, say to get to now being, running technology in a large technology company. So it's a very important thing. I see it as being for Africa a big piece of skills development and digital skills development, as well as being fun, right? So it's about being fun. Now, things have, as I said, I'll go to, talking about pandemic. We can't really talk in 2021 without mentioning this. But more working online, but we've also had more playing online. I've been looking at internet traffic statistics that I've seen across the Pan-African network that we run, and I've seen big increases in people watching online movie streaming services like Netflix, but also seen big increases in people playing online multiplayer games. And I look at Fortnite, I look at Roblox, people playing Among Us. The traffic is really expanding over this Pan-African network that we have, and really quite surprising levels of internet traffic we're seeing for some of these more popular games. Liquid Telecom, by having the network that we have, the Pan-African network, we pride ourselves in having the best connectivity between African countries, and we pride ourselves with having the best reliable and low latency connections to gaming servers like Fortnite. So for gamers, if you're able to get onto our broadband networks where we offer home networks, that's fantastic. Zambia, we have high-speed broadband access networks. So gamers in Zambia are able to get onto Liquid Telecom service. They should have the best performance for playing games. But also, in countries where we may not offer much service directly to home, some of the ISPs, the big mobile operators, are using our internet. So you still enjoy the benefits of our network by using that. But I want to tell a story really about my own children who live in UK and have been. They did go back to school for some months. It's not like Kenya where schools have been closed from March to January, but they were off school from around about April to September. Went back to school in September and are now off work, at home again. But have not, even when they've been going to school, they've still missed out on going out, spending time with their friends, as most children would do. And really have, playing online has become their, not just what they like to do anyway, but it's become very much their social life with their friends. They're playing online. They'll always be having Discord open and having a channel, talking with their friends all the time. So, it's just become completely normal for young people now who are into video gaming. I think just as online gaming and communication taking place at the same time, and largely playing with your friends, even if you are not in the same location. So I want to talk back to my youngest child, who's only 8 years old. His name is Daniel, and he has over the course of 2020, he's developed an interest in making his own video games, even at only the young age of 8. So he was doing things in Scratch. But him and his friends, discovered Unity, and really they just heard about this software application, went onto YouTube, watched a few videos about it, downloaded it, installed it, and already before I'd even discovered that he was even making video games like this, him and his friend had already built a demo RPG game. So it's absolutely amazing what can be happening. But why, when realizing that they were quite serious about wanting to learn video game programming and needing a bit more help, I managed to find our very own Isaac Hussein, he's here in Kenya and is a Unity student ambassador for Africa. And he's been giving online classes to my kids in the UK, or my youngest child and his friend, teaching them to make video games. So I just want to, I did do a short interview yesterday with Daniel. So I was just going to play that now before a few closing remarks. So if you can play the video, guys, that'd be great. So hello. So yeah, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
I'm Daniel. Yeah.
And how old are you, Daniel?
8.
Okay. So Daniel, what do you like about video games?
They're entertaining, and I get to play them with my friends.
And then I know you've been at home a lot with COVID, with schools being closed.
Yeah.
What have you been doing online with video games?
I've been making them and playing them.
Okay, that's amazing. How did you get to making video games?
All of my friends had been using Unity for a while. I didn't really understand what it was. But then one time I installed it, and yeah. Cool.
You just started making games, yeah?
Yeah.
And what kind of games do you really want to make? What kind of games do you want to develop?
First-person shooters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think you'll make money from making video games at one time?
Probably not.
Okay. All right. Now, now you've been doing online lessons with your tutor from Kenya on Unity. Just tell us about how that's going and what you're learning.
It's going quite well. We've made one game, and we're starting to make the second game.
Excellent.
We've inserted some bullets and some planes and tanks and stuff.
Okay.
Haven't done much.
Okay. And when you're making video games, yeah, you have lots of different people in video games. You have graphic designers, people doing sound and music, people doing the coding and game design. What's your favorite part of all of that?
I don't know.
Maybe the coding?
I kind of don't really understand it that much.
Okay. But you're still learning, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And then do you have anything to say to all the people who are making video games in Kenya?
Video games are fun.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for joining us. And we wish you a very successful career in making video games. And thanks for telling us about how you're starting at the age you're starting. And we wish you all the best of luck.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sharing about how Liquid Telecom is playing a leading role in supporting the ecosystem, and also thanks for sharing this interview with Daniel. I think for all of you, I believe we've been able to see how programming is impact on our kids, and I believe if we continue coding and jamming through this weekend, that hopefully we'll be able to build more games that Daniel here will be able to enjoy and play. So at this point, we will go on a short break, and when we return back, we will have Mr. Dennis Budia, who will be taking us through a game design workshop. And through this, we hope that we'll be able to help you and support you to build necessary gain. This has been made possible with the support of ADMI. So thanks to ADMI for making this training possible. So we'll be right back and stay tuned.
Africa Data Center is proud to showcase to you our state-of-the-art facilities right here in Midrand. Follow me as I take you on a tour of one of Africa's largest network of interconnected carrier and cloud-neutral data center facilities. All regulations and industry standards mandate security. Consequently, security and compliance are part of everything we do. It's an amalgamation of physical security, CCTV systems, and biometric access control. Visitors to our data centers are only permitted access through a pre-authorized procedure. Tech lounges are similarly available with couches, kitchens, and vending machines, with a variety of private and secure boardrooms available for on-site meetings. Supplementary security options such as biometric access control and CCTV cameras can be added. With unmatched resilience, robust security, and outstanding operational excellence, Africa Data Centers will exceed your every expectation.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the most exciting part of the game jam. So at this point, I would like to invite Mr. Dennis Mbugia, who's a game design lecturer at ADMI. So he will be taking us through this next session of training the participants who are jamming this week. So, Mr. Mbugia, thank you so much for making time. This is over to you now. So, Mr. Mbugia, we're going to take a small commercial just to. Okay, so please, Mr. Mbugia, I think your mic was having a bit of an issue. So please check it and then we'll
Hear me now? Can you hear me?
We live in a technological world. Sometimes glitches are bound to happen. So we ask you that you bear with us for this second as Mr. Mbugia solves his microphone issue.
Okay. Hi, Douglas. Can you hear me okay now? Hello?
Okay.
I'm good to go?
To you, Mr. Mbugia.
Okay, great. Thank you. So sorry about that. Okay. We're good. All right. Great. So yeah, I'll just redo my introduction. So my name is Dennis Mbuthia. I am the head of department of the Rubika Game Design and Development Program, and this has been there for the last 2 years. And so far, we have a few students who will be graduating very soon from the certificate program. And today I'm privileged to be able to talk with you guys and be able to inspire your game design for the games that you have. Hopefully it's not too late. And yeah, it's something that will be able to at least enhance every your activity and make your game even better. So welcome everyone from Zambia and Kenya. Feel very welcome, and hopefully we'll be able to have a few comments later on getting to hear what any questions that you may have and be able to deliberate with you on that. So I'm going to share my screen. So I hope you can be able to see my screen. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you some game design tips for your 2021 Global Game Jam. So one thing is, I commend you on the fact that already you've spent 2 days so far already starting to work on your games. So great job, guys. Keep it going. Keep the teamwork going. I know, first of all, the first thing is to understand one another, get to see and develop an idea. Depending on how far you guys have gone, we'll get to see, and even from some of the experiences that I've had when it comes to game jams, I have participated so far in 3 of them, and each and every one of them I've had different experiences, which I'm going to share with you as we get to continue. So if there's any of you who's still, probably struggling on the idea and trying to figure out what to do, don't worry, it happens. And as much as you may feel that you're behind and all, it's okay. Hopefully with some of the things that I'll help you think through will help you get to decide and get to see what it's about. But I hear that you guys also had a really good and interesting time with Jake yesterday, and you are able to tackle and have a look at some of the games that you have. So this is just going to be in addition to help you go through this. Okay, so at ADMI, we have a program that is video game design and development, that is with a certificate and diploma, and eventually get to a degree where you'll be able to have an opportunity to study this in France at Rubica, the French college at Valenciennes. And this whole program is being designed to take 3 years, and with attachments happening at the end of each and every year, so that you can get the industry immersion that is needed. So if any one of you would be interested, just head on out to admi.ac.ke, or if you know any relatives or friends or other persons who want to switch their careers into the game development side, you're welcome. Like now, having to see Ben Roberts' 8-year-old child already doing game development, I'm amazed and I'm jazzed, and that's really, really great. So how much more will you be able to do with the trainers that you'll have? Okay, so I'm going to start off with being able to help you understand what exactly is game design. Yeah, so game design is one of the components that I have seen personally that has been lacking quite a few times throughout the industry. A lot of people have been doing a lot of game development, and just being able to use Unity, being able to break it down very well and show and come up with prototypes that actually work. Eventually at the end of the day, you'll be able to design a game. Now, I'll take you back in time and be able to just highlight to you something that happened twice in history, and that is in 1977 and 1983, whereby the video game industry crashed. And the reason why they crashed, for each year there are different things, but the most important one was the one in 1983, whereby a lot of games were being made, and a lot of them were just copies of other people's games. So, for example, one of the biggest things that happened 2 years ago, about 6 years ago, was Flappy Birds. And it hit the market, and everyone was excited about it and playing the game, and then it was removed from the store. But the buzz was already being created, and people are talking about it. But here's the thing. Several developers, even later, what they ended up doing is that they started having a lot more of games that seemed and looked like Flappy Birds. And now that's what ended up happening in the game industry. Many people had started creating other games that look exactly the same as others, and most of them were either they were not polished, they were not okay, they had a lot of things that were missing. So what would happen is people now had so many games to be able to play, and then there are also very many consoles that were released. So what happened is people now stopped playing games because they're like, which even game is right? Which is the right one to play? Which console should I buy? And of course, at that time, the consoles were quite expensive. So that decision making was really, really hard. And so then now the game industry died. And that's when now the concept of game design kind of had to start off, where people now had to start thinking not beyond just game programming, but actually designing the game, looking at the concepts of what this game is all about and what is the objective of the game, and be able to work on it in a way that makes a lot of sense, in a way that brings in a different feel, a different kind of gameplay, and make it interesting. And so as a game designer, or what you usually do is come up with the rules of the game. You come up with the idea of what the game is about, and then now start breaking it down. Okay, so how is this game going to be played? What are the rules? How is the player going to interact with this virtual world? What are the things that are going to come into this virtual world? To again, it's all focused on the objective. The objective is the key thing that is there. So right now for the Global Game Jam, it's very clear and that what you're working on is on the lost and found. So now you have to look at what is lost and found. What are the feelings that are associated with lost and found? How do you depict something that is lost and then found? Then what are the feelings people have when they lose something? What is the feeling that people have when they are searching for that item? What are the feelings that people have when they finally get the item? So, that's now what you're looking at. And now that's what you need to now look inside, research, and start thinking of, okay, what am I going to do? Like most of you, hopefully, you've ended up having to sadly lose something. Maybe it's a pencil, an eraser, or basically any small item, even the house keys. You've lost it somewhere, and you want to look and you look for it, and the anxiety that comes with it and all that. Yeah. So when now you have an idea or even an example of something that you've gone through, or just the basic idea of what you want to design, then there are a couple of things that we need to have a look at, and these are foundational elements of a game. The foundational elements that are going to help you be able to put this game together to be able to one, make it a game, and two, meet whatever objective that there is towards it. So to begin with, one of them is to identify the objective. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to make? What is the idea? What is the objective of the game? What do you exactly want somebody to feel at the end of it? So in this case, the objective was already delivered to you, which was lost and found. So do you want to make somebody feel lost? Is it themselves who are feeling lost? Is it them losing an item? Is it them being rewarded for finding something that just like a detective, you're always going to be looking and for clues, and are you finding them? And all that. So first, the main thing is to understand what is the objective that you want to feel. Do you want to make somebody feel oppressed? Do you want to make somebody feel empowered to be able to do something? Then the next thing that you look at are the players. Okay, who do you want to actually play this game, and how are they going to play this game? Is it a one person, or is it a one player kind of thing, or is it two people, or is it multiple persons? So when you look at the players in this case, you look at is it a player versus player? Is it you against me, or such that, you know, we have two controls and we're playing against one another. This is very famous with Mortal Kombat, you know, for example. That's why you're fighting one another. Or Tekken again. Or are you going to do a multiplayer? And the multiplayer in this case is many people joining in online and, you know, logging in, just like Among Us or Fortnite or League of Legends. You know, that's the multiplayer persons coming in. And that's when you have to look at it. Is it a local multiplayer or is it a massive online or multiplayer game? Of course, if it's a multiplayer game, like the advert that you saw, that's when you may need data centers and, you know, servers to be able to manage all that. And of course, for an experience within the game jam, it could be something that you want to do. Or are you going to have players versus players, whereby you have multiple players within a certain team and another set of players within a certain team, and then they're against each other. And then there are very many variations that come along with it, because you can even be a team versus a computer. That could be another kind of player. So are you just fighting, or not fighting, but are you trying to reach your objective, and the person that is stopping you from obtaining that objective is just a computer, or is it going to be another player? If it's going to be player versus player, then that means directly all you're just going to be coding is the interactions that are coming in and them fighting or coming against one another. But if you're including a player versus a computer, then the computer needs to have some kind of artificial intelligence. They need to understand and know the kind of responses that they should make when a player does a particular thing. Then if it's multiplayer, as I said, are you going to look at local, whereby some computer is connected with another computer through the LAN cables or through a switch, and then you're all fighting within an arena? Or are you going to be doing it online, where people are different places around the world and you come in and, you know, play together? I've had the privilege of getting to see these two kind of types of games having been made by students. And this has happened with a collaboration with the Rubica France, where I have attended a number of what you have called juries. This is whereby you have industry professionals come in and look at the students' final projects, which you still also have adopted here. So people come and showcase what they have done and all. And they have come up with really amazing games for this. And even one where we are playing the multiplayer game that we had was, and this one was using Unreal. Yeah, this one was using Unreal. But what the player was able to, we were able to play one person from India, one person from France, myself from Kenya, another one in another part of France, of course. And this was happening now during COVID time. And, you know, the feedback that was there was amazing. And so depending on what tool you're using, it will be helpful. Then all you have to put in mind is that here you'd have to do a bit of network programming a bit, but of course with Unity and Unreal, they have particular packages that actually handle the multiplayer aspects and, you know, deal with the lags and the data that is needed between them. Yeah. Also, after you choose who are the player, how your game is going to be played, and how their players are going to interact with one another, or is it one player versus the world and the environment, and they're just solving the different puzzles? Then now the next thing is you need to figure out what your conflict is. What's your conflict? Conflict is anything that stops you from obtaining your objective. And in this case, it could be enemies, obstacles. Enemies are non-playing characters, NPCs, non-playable characters that have artificial intelligence. That is, they kind of, some enemies can have artificial intelligence, that will respond to because when you talk about AI, it means that the player constantly keeps thinking or updating its decisions based on the player's output. And that could be a bit advanced right now. But you can be able to have enemies with certain behaviors. Just telling it, if this is a platformer, then your character should be able to walk on this particular platform from the left to the right, or it should only move up and down. And when an enemy comes, when the player character comes in the vicinity of the enemy, or a range within the from where the enemy is at, then it will attack. It will shoot it. It will send a projectile or something. And then comes in the obstacles. The obstacles, again, whatever it is that will stop you from obtaining your objective. And this one, in this case, it also has some kind of behavior. However, this is an object. It's not really how do I put it? It's more and less environmental based. So for a good example is that when you look at something like Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones, when you have the obstacles would be something like a mace, okay, that's coming towards you, or a saw that's coming towards you, okay, and all its objective is just to kill you or hinder just your ability to access something. You know, it could be spikes, it could be a platform with spikes that keeps on moving right on top of your head, and all. So the obstacle also, it could even be it like shoots out projectiles, just or you know, when you step onto a certain plate somewhere, then a fiery flame appears, or if you step on something, the door is closed, you know, such. Those are now the obstacles that you're talking about. They are basically inanimate, more or less inanimate objects. While the enemies, on the other hand, are very, they kind of take up a human, not only human, but more of a character within the game that stops you from achieving a goal, and they have specific behaviors that kind of stop you from being able to achieve them. Okay, so let's look at yeah. So also another thing as obstacles, they could be the puzzles. Like you know, you have to arrange some things in a certain sequence so that you can be able to open a door, or you need to push something from one point to another point to open a certain lever, so that now it can be able to close or open a gate, or reveal an object that you need to pick up. Yeah. So for instance, in this case, these are the different enemies that are in different kinds of games. The first one, you know, could you, like, can I give you a moment to try and guess where they come from, which game they are part of, and their names? Might you know? Just take a minute and think about it. Okay, thank you for the guesses that you have had so far. So the first one is from Hello. Yes, Hello, and this is known as the Grunt. Okay, and this one is a low-level character. It's one of the easier ones that you will always constantly meet, and you will be fighting a lot, you know. And they always they have also a particular purpose as to why they behave the way they do. You know, they always have a gun with you that will enable you to switch between weapons. If you and the different kinds of weapons that they have, and you know, Halo has several weapons that you keep on switching between. So anytime you want to collect one, you just kill one of this, and you're like, okay, now at least I can reload. You know, and they are very easy to kill. Yeah. But they have some interesting things about it that I'll come to. Then you can also look at And this one is from Super Mario Brothers. Good one. And this is called a Gomba. Okay, and a Gomba also is one of the simplest enemies within Mario, where also they just move from left to right on a particular platform, and then if the player comes into contact with it, it dies. All you have to do is either jump on top of its head or just jump over it and you move on to the next thing. It's just dependent on the strategy that you want. And the next one is, yes, from Mario, and it's called not a turtle, no, it's called a Koopa Trooper. Okay, so the Koopa Trooper, on the other hand, is an advancement of this previous with the mushroom, the moving mushroom, and instead of the Gomba. And this one, instead, when you land on top of it, it has a completely different behavior. All it knows is move left to right. If you get to the end of a platform and there's nothing, just turn and move to the right. And if you jump on top of it, instead of dying, a turtle will automatically get inside its shell. That's when you appear, on a normal circumstance. And the same thing happens with this. When you land on top of it, it gets inside its shell. And then when you jump on top of it again, it's like you kick it of sorts towards one side. If you're more towards the left side, then you're kicking it to the right. If you're more towards the right side, you land on it, it moves towards the left. Then now it goes ahead and hits everything else along the way. So it kind of becomes your own, it becomes a helper in clearing the path for you. But woe unto you if you're in the midst of, two pillars and it's just going to keep on bouncing between those two pillars and you haven't jumped over on top of the other pillar, then you're going to die. And then the last one is from, it doesn't look familiar? Okay, not to worry. This is a Motorbug and it's from Sonic the Hedgehog. And also its work is just to also target platformers left to right. And each of these enemies, mostly, as I mentioned, the Gomba is the simplest of all. If I was to look at all these characters, the simplest of them is just the Gomba. All you have to, it was one of it, the main essence why it was there was to train you to jump and to attack an enemy. And that's why it's very easy for you to be able to overcome it. Same thing with the grunt. The objective there was for it to just keep you entertained or to help you, stop you from obtaining your objective. It tries to, because it's a bit of a nuisance as much as it's very easy to kill, but it also would give you an opportunity to change between weapons very easily and very fast, and even give you, because when it dies, it usually would give you some additional things that you can use. So they all have a purpose. They're not just there for anything. So another thing that you need to put in mind, so just to recap, let's have a look at what you had said, that you need to first of all have your objective at hand. Then when you have your objective, then that's when it helps you also figure out what kind of play system you're going to have. Is it going to be player versus player, player versus computer, or players versus players? Is it going to be multiplayers? And if it's a multiplayer, are they going to be teams against one another, or is it going to be just a free-for-all? And then once you have, with this objective in mind, you are able to come up with what items are going to conflict in this world that you have created. So come up with the points of conflict, figure out your enemies and what they can be able to do, and how the damage that they give and all. And then there are the obstacles, what damage, how does it do it? It's in form of objects and the kind of puzzles that will stop you from being able to attain your objective. And then now comes in the rewards. Now, thinking about the theme, lost and found, there is a feeling that you usually get when you finally find the lost item. And that's joy. Like, yes, finally I found it. And then there are those times that you find something, but it came too late when you really, really needed it. So it's no longer a reward. So you can imagine when you're playing a game and you're really low in health, and then the next treasure chest that you find is one of weapons. Like, no, right now I don't want weapons. I think I have enough weapons. I have just survived, and right now I know I'm going to meet another enemy, and I'm with one hit it's gonna kill me. So the main thing that I need right now is uh, a life. Yes, some kind of health. So the best reward I need right now is that. So you have to also make sure that even when somebody is finding a particular object, it either makes sense, or if it's or even if they find it, they may also the emotional feeling that they may have is one of, oh man, I wish this came in early because I really needed it then. So figure out where you're going to put your rewards and how you're going to gift your player such that you keep on enhancing them or enabling them to want to keep on moving on with the game and finally get to finish it. Because the worst thing that you want to do is frustrate them. Then also for the rewards, you need to be very, very careful. You don't want to over reward someone. You don't want to give them too many too many weapons to a point. Another weapon chest, I don't need it, why do I have it? It's of no use. Okay. Or too much life to a point of like, why am I only picking lives? Like, I am so healthy. Why do I need all these things? Like, now I need to fight a bit more. So you need to kind of find a way of balancing it out so that somebody will like the reward or appreciate the reward at that particular point, and also make them work for that reward. So you just need to make sure that your rewards make sense, and not just to always be very completely predictable on how they get their rewards. At times somebody needs to fight for it, just like when in high school or in campus, whenever you have to do your exams, the reward that you finally get when it's done is like, finally I'm done with it. That's one reward. And the second reward is when you finally get the results. If you've done very well, you'll be like, yes, I made it and I did this. And then if you didn't perform very well, you're sad and all. And then there could be another incentive, another reward, that if you attained a certain amount, a certain grade, then you'd get something. That's another incentive. So it's a reward upon a reward, but it needs to make sense. Okay, when you're coming into the when you're putting it in games, your rewards need to make sense to the game. So just don't have coins and the coins don't have any use in the game. Don't just have plenty of health and there are no enemies for quite some time. Or time, if you can give in so much time, because maybe the task that needs to be done is to be completed within a certain time, but you're giving it so much that the reward is not necessary. Okay, so that's all. I was listing a few reward options, which are coins, health, time. The coins could be used to purchase something. The health could be used now, of course, to have enough health to go fight a different enemy, or enough to complete the level. Time, if in case your game is timed for you to find something. For example, if you lose the car keys, for instance, and you're all over the house and you're looking for it, not even that. Let's even get the best example, the TV remote. When that TV remote gets lost, you know how it usually is. It's like, if I don't get this remote now, my show is going to be over. I'm going to miss the best parts of this, so you're going to be practically looking all over the sitting room so that you don't miss your show. So in this case, if the reward that you get probably when you when you get that remote, and then you find that this remote is not even for what I want. I needed one for the TV, but you got the one for the sound system, and then you found the one for the DVD player, and then finally now but each time you get any of the remotes, you could end up adding some time so that you can be able to watch your show or something. You can even get a reward as a power up. For a temporary amount of time, you can be able to do something. Those times that when you lose something that you feel especially you wish that you could either call it, nowadays whenever you lose your cell phone and there's somebody around you, like, hey, please call my cell phone, and then you find it, you're like, yes, now I can do whatever else I wanted to do. So probably, your power up could be at the point when I'm given when I get the power up, I can be able to see everything in the room, for a very limited time. I can see it, but a consequence is maybe time is gone, so I have half the time that I had remaining, to do something. You'd have to balance out your power up so that they end up working. Then and all. So that's it on rewards. And then finally the rules. How am I going to in this case, what are the winning conditions? How do I win in this game? You need to be very clear about that. What's the win? And all this is back again tied to the objective. Your win needs to be tied with the objective. If it doesn't, then it won't make sense. Then your objective will be lost. Okay. And also you're losing. The winning and losing conditions need to be very, very clear. Because with this is when you'll be able to assist somebody in being able to do 1, 2, 3. Also, the rules help you in how the player interacts with the environment. Probably telling them, at this particular point, before you move on to the next stage, you need 1, 2, 3 items. Before you combat this enemy, you need 1, 2, 3, 4 items. So you need to constantly have these rules very clear and outlined. And it usually would help even with with the programmer when you're doing the programming to figure out how these ones work. So further game design tips in bits and pieces. So just before that, let's just recap again. So first thing, come up with the objective. Number 2, figure out how the players are going to play. Number 3, the conflict. How is this conflict going to be established? With the obstacles, with the enemies, with puzzles. Okay. Then finally, figure out the reward scheme. How are you going to reward someone? And how are you going to display these rewards? How is the feedback going to be? And how does it work for the game? The rewards need to make sense. And then you finally have the rules on how somebody would win or somebody would lose. And this now gives you a complete scope of what is needed within the game. Right. So now let's get into some design tips, especially for where you are right now in the game jam. So the first thing is you need to learn to be creative under pressure. Okay. Previous game jams have always been 48 hours, and this is one of the few times that you'll have an extended period from 27th to the 31st to be able to design to make the game that you have. So if you still feel and this is really important as a designer, you always need to constantly have some constraints, and this time it's time that's constraining you. So whenever you're starting off with coming up with the ideas, you need to do this kind of exercise. That's the open and close theory. And this is at the first time when you've been told about lost and found, you start thinking, what are all the ways I can be able to convey the idea of being lost and found? So you list all of them, everything that you can think about, just go ahead and list it down as a team, of course. And then once you're done with that, you now get into that's the open section where everything and anything that you have is going to be taken up. Okay, just write it down. Don't discredit any ideas that have come up. Just write them. And then move on to the closed section, which is a timed section of 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's up to you to decide how long you want to take. Just take a short time. Now start knocking off items from the open list that you had. The one that didn't have any limitations, start off with that one. Then take it into a funnel for 10 minutes, discuss each and every item, and then discard the ones that are not worth it. The ones that remain, now go into an open section again, and now go individually into each and every item, the open one. Think about it. How wonderful is this idea? How big is this idea? How well can it grow? This idea number 2, how well can it grow? Idea number 3, how well can it grow? Idea number 4, how well can it grow? Okay. Then once you have deliberated and you've written all those things down, now go again into the closed loop And this time again, another timed session where you now look through each and every idea 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Choose the ones that are viable. By this time, you need to let go of others. Okay, so you continue doing that up until you now remain with one idea which you finally have really thought it through, and then it becomes very easy for you to implement because you already chose the best out of all the ones that you had. Okay, and the reason why it's good to always list these things down is because at any point you may go back a step behind and then you realize, oh, at this time we made a decision on this one, but as we started going to think more on it, we realize actually the second option is actually much better and it will be faster for us to implement. Then it's very easy for you to go back. But if you had not written them down, you'd start thinking, oh, what did we discuss about this? What was the idea again? What happened? And all. And that means that you're losing even more time. Then fail fast. This is very, very key when it comes to now, especially when you have the time constraints and you're always under pressure. You have to fail faster. The faster you fail, the easier it is. A game designer, 90% of your life is about failure. What do I mean? That each and every time you're testing out a concept, you're going to fail. It always fails. All you do, it fails. You do, it fails. You do, it fails. And then finally, but each time it's failing, you're learning something. It's not just a failure. Failure for us is a good thing because each and every time we fail, we make it better. We grow. Okay. Then, and how you fail faster is by prototyping the basics. Always prototype. Have a very quick, and I mean quick levels or quick designs or very quick, simple ideas of what it is that you want to do. The faster you do this, the better. Because again, you fail faster and you learn and get to see where the challenge is. Where the challenge here, you grow. Challenge here, you grow, like that, continuously. And then whenever you're doing your prototype basics, your prototype, you keep on testing and testing and testing. Test here, test there, test there, test there. And always remember, the mindset that you need to have whenever you're testing is you don't know anything about the game. You have just received it for the first time. You have no clue how it works or how it operates. All you have to do is just to keep on testing. Is just to try and figure it out. Because that's what's going to happen when you're giving your game off to someone. Nobody knows the game. Nobody has an idea of how the game is being played. So you need to either show them how it's going to be played within the game and help them understand how they're going to navigate through this entire game. So you need to test with that mindset. Then the key thing about the Global Game Jam, and I like the video and how it emphasizes on, hey, one, it's challenge for you to come up with something within a short time. And then the second thing is you network. So same thing. You have to learn from other people. You first of all also learn from something about yourself. You also learn things about other people, because you're meeting people from different countries and different places. And in this case, however your team is constituted, this is a pressure cooker to find out how well you guys are, gelled together. A team is as strong as its weakest link. So the more you get to know how you each work, the more you learn how to work with each other or how to work with different personality types. And at the same time, you learn about somebody else, and then you get to network. Or I have finally found somebody who does script writing very well. I have found somebody who does programming. I have found somebody who does game art. I have found somebody who does animation. I know a fellow developer. I know somebody who I can talk to when I have an issue with my code. Such. And then what this helps you with, one, is also you're honing your skills to become better, and also you're growing in terms of the net worth that you have, because you're only as good as the people that you know. Okay, and they also help you with different things around you. They can help you be able to break down the concepts. They can help you or link you up to other people who you need to be able to do something. And so, yeah, take this opportunity, learn from one another, learn about each other, network. What are everybody's passions? What are the things that they like? You know, how do you not piss them off? How do you make them happy? You know, these are life skills that you need. So yeah, and yeah, that's it. That's what I had for you guys today. And I don't know if you have any questions, you can shoot them out. But yeah, and I'm really hoping that this game design tips that I've shared with you are things that are going to help you within your game jam. And if not, you can also tell me. You're like, no, you wasted my time. Because I believe that everything, time is of importance, and anything that we learn is of importance. And once again, don't also forget www.admi.ac.ke. You can be able to find out more about the Rubica program right there. And yeah, you're welcome to learn. So thank you. So I'll take it back to Douglas and the team. Thank you. Hey, Douglas.
I believe this has been a great session. I've also learned one thing, so at least I'm able to take something home today. For the viewers, we want to thank you for also being able to join us online.
Hey, Douglas.
I believe this has been a great session. I've also learned one thing, so at least I'm able to take something home today. For the viewers, we want to thank you for also being able to. Okay. So thanks, Dennis, for. Thanks, Dennis, for the session. So with this, again, once again, I'd like to thank people who have been able to make this stream possible, to share it across the continent. Thank you for the wonderful session. And even as the global game jam continues, I look forward to seeing what the game thank you. Have a great rest of the day.